Bushcraft 101, page 134. Tarps and tarp setup. The cover element you use will dictate how you adapt to a given situation. This is the reason why I believe so strongly in tarps and tarp tents. Even if you are using a hammock, versatility is key to a comfortable night's sleep in any given scenario. It is important that you choose or make tarps that have the maximum amounts of points for tie-outs, be it by loops or by actual tie-out tails. There should also be loops for pulling the tarp from the outside to increase the inside space. The following instructions explain some of the most common tarp configurations. Before we begin, here's the basic vocabulary used for tarp and tarp tent pitches. When a tarp is set up without any of the fabric touching the ground, it is known as flying the tarp. That's highlighted. This works very well for hammock type setups. If any portion of the tarp's fabric is staked at ground level, you are pitching the tarp. That's highlighted. To pitch a camp, that's highlighted. It is set up. And to strike a camp, that's highlighted, is to take it down. Flying a tarp. Most often, when flying a tarp, you will use a ridge line of some sort as a main support for the tarp. The tarp can be laid across this ridge line either in square or diamond fashion. When using a square tarp, which I highly recommend for the most versatility, the ridge lines I use are generally either a natural material rope of a 1/2 inch diameter or a piece of 550 parachute cord 25 feet long. This length will give you plenty of room in case the trees are farther apart than desired. Follow these instructions for a foolproof setup. Page 135. Number 1. Tie a bowline knot at one end of your ridge line rope or cord. Tie an overhand knot with a 2-inch tail to be used as a stop knot on the other end. Number 2. Pass the rope around a tree or main tie-out location and then feed the tag end through the bowline. This will create a self-tightening loop that will not lock for ease of adjustment, but will remain secure under load. Number 3. Once the other end of the rope has been passed around an opposing tree, create a trucker's hitch, leaving a loop that stops on the stop knot. This allows you to secure one corner of the tarp by passing this loop through a tie-out on the tarp, and then placing a simple toggle in the rope loop, drawing it down to tighten the tarp. This will come out easily if needed for striking camp or making adjustments later. Number 4, the best thing to use on the opposite end of the tarp is a simple prusik knot made from a 6-inch loop of line. After tying the line to the ridge, pull the loop through the opposite tie-out loop and toggle it. You can then slip this along the line until the tarp is tight to the ridge, and it will hold by friction, making adjustments and striking easy. Number 5. At this point, stretch the tarp to the desired height on the 2 or 4 corners and either guy it out with lines to another object or stake the lines to the ground. It is important to be sure that these lines are easily adjusted as well, because many tarp materials will stretch depending on the weather. Adjustable lines make tightening easy. The lean-to. You can build a simple lean-to with either a rectangular or square tarp by attaching 2 opposing corners to a ridge line, as described earlier, and staking the other side of the tarp to the ground with stakes. The most important thing to understand here is that the pitch or angle of the tarp controls important factors. End of page.